Badger fans, what is going on? What a interesting couple hours that we find ourselves in. So Jim Leonhard is not coming back. I'm going to be sad about that for a couple minutes, but let's talk about it. And Wisconsin with a huge win against Maryland. They're going to get so overshadowed by the Jim Leonhard news, unfortunately, and they don't deserve that, but they are. It's going to happen. We're going to talk about all of that, a bunch of comments on today's Locked On Badgers. Great guest as well. Let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, my friends? Welcome to Locked On Badgers. I am your host, Ryan Herrings. Today's show is brought to you by our good friends over at LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, one of your first listens every day, one of your first stops for Badger News every day. Really, really do appreciate it. We're going to try to get to a bunch of comments. We got a great guest, and we have a lot to talk about today, as y'all know. We're going to bring Rajiv in. Rajiv, my friend, how are you doing? It's our Tuesday get-together.
Doing well, man. Always a pleasure to be on. Thanks.
Listen, we got to start here. Originally, so if you all are watching on the YouTube notifications, originally the title of this live was Wisconsin Maryland basketball reaction show plus some portal stuff, right? And then during that, since I posted that, it shifted to Jim Leonhard's not coming back, and we'll talk basketball too, right? Because
they deserve for us to talk about them today.
Absolutely, this was a huge win. This was a huge win, but Jim Leonhard not coming back. So I want to start with just a really quick internal timeline, and then I'm going to kick it to Rajiv. So if y'all remember the show, for the longest time, I was saying, don't take the interim tag off. Don't give it to Jim Leonhard right away. Wait to see who's out there. I was thrilled when they did that and hired Luke Fickell, and I conceded that this probably means Jim Leonhard's not coming back, and that's worth it to me because I think Fickell's a home run hire. And then when we got that nugget of hope that, oh, this might work and you get to keep Jim Leonhard, I was elated, and now having that taken back away from me, having that false hope and then ripped out of me, I'm honestly kind of sad about this right now.
I mean, there's reason to be sad. Jim Leonhard we love Jim Leonhard, and of course it's sad. I at the time, as we've all said many times that we thought Jim was going to leave. It wouldn't be surprising. And when it came out that he might stay, or that he was going to stay, and we all thought he was, we did a show about it. We were all pumped. I mean, we called it a home run. I mean, it was clear that we were going to have the best of both worlds. We didn't have to tinker with the defense. But at the same time, we also discussed that there are some risks involved in potentially having two chiefs in the locker room and, whether there's chemistry issues. So obviously it sucks that he's leaving. And what my instant thought was, what happened, right? I mean, was something that Fickell was doing, the assistants he was hiring, maybe they were talking scheme, they were talking a little more details, and he wasn't happy, or did he not really like the reaction that he got when people, thought he was staying? I mean, who knows, right? But once again, it's just an opportunity for us to say thank you, Jim. I mean, I tweeted it earlier today. When I heard the news, thank you for what you did. I mean, This is what, it's like this guy is going to be totally ingrained in Wisconsin football and has been for many years and in playing and then coaching. And I mean, it's just one of those moments where we have to respect his decision because he can go be a coach somewhere else. Maybe it's just a defensive coordinator somewhere else, but he needs to go find his own path now, and forever grateful for everything he's done.
Yeah, that's really well said. I mean, that's a great spot to start and probably finish with. Thank you, Jim Leonhard, right? For everything he's done, for everything he did for the program, for continuing this incredibly high level of defense, for managing the ship after Paul Chris left, right? He got us bowl eligible. He turned that ship around. I'm just a little salty about it, but yeah. I get it. And one of the things we've talked about is, is there a possibility that if you keep Jim Leonhard and things go south, do players maybe does the locker room struggle? No, I don't think it would. I think if Jim Leonhard bought in, I think he would squash that. Sure. But here's something I wanted to talk about that I thought about as this thing was unfolding. The longer this takes, doesn't it feel more and more like maybe Jim Leonhard, even if he was staying, wasn't fully on board with this?
Right.
And that's a problem.
And there's been a lot of dominoes that have been falling in college football the last couple of days. I think you brought it up on a show that you did earlier about how we need to have a little bit of urgency behind making, getting things done. And you had said Jim needs to make a decision quickly. Well, hours later, he made his decision.
I did
But
call
that's
that.
good for the program. It's good that he made the decision. We
Yes.
can move forward. Like now, Wisconsin's mentality, which, bringing Fickell into this program, of course, the expectation was that he was going to leave. So we've set the tone now. We're here to win. We're here to move forward. So now let's do that. That's our focus. Jim Leonhard, thank you. Have a great career. Maybe we'll see you down the road sometime. Now, let's get the coordinator set up. Let's get the staff set up. Let's figure out. I mean, we're losing people in the transfer portal. We got to get people from the transfer portal. There's a lot of steps that have to happen now. This was a good step, a step that was necessary because if he was going to leave, he needs to go. So let's move forward.
Something interesting there too. There is something to be said about it. I think you were hitting on it. I think it's a really good point. We got comments about it as well. There is something to be said there about Fickell coming in and resetting the culture. And can you truly do that if the interim coach from the previous culture is still there? Right. Offensively, you certainly could, but it's still going to be some institutional leftovers there. I certainly don't want to call Jim Leonhard a leftover. I didn't word that well, but this can now be a complete culture reset. If for those of you who think that is what was needed, mission accomplished, right?
Good things on both sides. There's a positive to him staying. There's a positive to him going. So, we're not in a situation where we were not expecting to be. This is not a bombshell. This is like, okay, we expected it. Hope he would have stayed, but this is our new administration now, and here we go.
And yeah, let's reset now to the strategic, right? So we're super zoomed in on this right now. We love Jim Leonhard. That's part of it, right? We're humans, we're emotions, we're fans. Part of this is we love Jim Leonhard, like 100%. But if we zoom out, we were all, for the most part, really good with bringing in Luke Fickell, even if it cost us Jim Leonhard. That scenario is still true, right?
Yep.
Like, despite the false hope that we had and we thought we were going to build this incredible dream staff, we still were really happy with the trade originally. And that's just kind of back to where we are now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're on track. Nothing has changed. You mentioned, sorry to switch gears a little bit here, but you mentioned that in the earlier show about how we haven't really lost a ton into the transfer portal as far as production. So there's no fire drill here. There's no panic. We're on course.
Now let's talk about that, because now I think we are about to.
Yeah, right.
I'm telling you right now, I think we're about to lose some dudes over this, which I've said before, and let me know in the comments. Let me know if you think I'm wrong or right. I've said before that I don't think you make a move with a coaching staff in regards to the current players, right? Like you can't make strategic moves to keep a couple players for a couple years, because these are long-term decisions you have to make on the coaching staff. But yeah, you're going to lose some guys now, I think, and a couple of them are going to hurt.
They are going to hurt, but the thing is, we're going to replace them most likely with players that are going to be, maybe not equally as good, but we're going to get out of the transfer portal too. So yeah, it is going to hurt, but this is what happens with a coaching change. Obviously, this is the toughest part because we've liked these players. These players have been effective and great, some of them. So if we lose a guy that hurts, then we lose a guy that hurts, and we need to move forward. But that's the price you pay for what we've done. But we have to just keep our eye on the prize here and realize that Fickell being here in the long run is going to be absolutely massive for this program. So not a lot to really complain about.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we're on the same page from the big picture.
Yeah.
All right.
It does hurt though.
Doesn't it a little bit?
Yeah. It's just because we were getting excited about it. Like we were getting excited about seeing Jim Leonhard keep that defense and seeing him work with Fickell and then how much bigger could we have really been? But it's okay.
I think that's the thing. I think we wanted the cake and wanted to eat the cake and have it too. And we wanted the best of both worlds, because that really was the best of both worlds. But I think we still, in the big picture, you have Luke Fickell. He's going to build a good defensive staff. And I like everything that Fickell's done up to this point. So I'm super excited about that. Coming up, we're going to talk, but we have to talk about this amazing basketball game, right? The Badgers just knocked off undefeated Maryland. An unranked Badger team, by the way, that's not going to be that way for much longer. We're going to talk about stars of the game, what we saw from the game. I see Justin just got into the queue as well. We're going to bring him in after this, and we're going to talk about, plus we have a bunch of user comments to get to. So we're going to get to all that next on Locked On Badgers. But first, today's show is brought to you by our good friends over at LinkedIn. LinkedIn remains your number one source for all your professional networking, your professional hiring. And these days, every big hire. And by the way, what are we talking about on this show all the time? Hiring and firing, coaching staffs. I hope all these staffs, hope Luke Fickell is using LinkedIn to find the best candidates to fill out his staff. LinkedIn has great screening tools, allows you to screen out all the people who are kind of paper warriors, right? But they don't have the skills to bring to your small business. And these days you can't miss on small business hires. It's hard to find the right people. It's even harder to get them out if they're not the right people. So LinkedIn is your number one spot for this. Simple tools, like I said, to help you find the right candidates. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. It's something I've used professionally a lot to expand my network. And LinkedIn jobs helps you find, again, the quality candidates to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning into Locked On Badgers. If you like the show, please hit that subscribe button. It does help the show. It helps us continue to give you guys the free content that y'all like. And let's get right back into it. We're going to bring Rajiv. And we got Justin here too. Justin, we talked about Jim Leonhard. You were late to the show. But
I had to shower. Sorry, guys.
He didn't know how to find the link. So,
no worries there.
Well, I wasn't sure if he was going to be posting one somewhere else or if he was just going to send one out.
No, I don't know. I don't know what I do sometimes. I get lost in the moment. But I do want to talk. I think we do need to shift gears to this really big win. This is a huge win as we kind of jump into the Big Ten Conference. Maryland was undefeated, just beat Illinois. And, yeah, to take them out once again. And one of the things I thought was really interesting this one, I'm going to kick it over to you guys here in a second, but I felt like the Badgers kind of had a stranglehold on this game for basically the entirety of it. Even when it was close, it felt like this game was played at the Badgers' tempo. See, Rajiv disagrees. I think this game was played at the Badgers' tempo. And all the bigger leads were Wisconsin. Maryland was never able to create space and for the most part had to play from behind. I thought that was interesting, but let me kick it to Rajiv. Or let me kick it to Justin first because Rajiv and I were just talking about Jimmy Leonhard. But what did you think, Justin?
I actually think that they kind of handed it to us on a silver platter. They don't know how to use their talent at all. Like that's been Maryland since they came to the Big Ten. They have guys who are really good athletes and are actually pretty decent players, but they never find ways to put them in positions to be successful. Looking at Scott compared to every guy on our basketball team, he looks like he should be putting up 25 on us. Like he's bigger than everyone that we have. And yet they don't find ways to give him an opportunity to post up. Effectively, for the most part, it looks like he wants to just shoot threes. And that might be that Wisconsin's just packing it in that much. But man, like it feels like they got away with one with him. And quite honestly, I say that feeling like Wisconsin didn't remotely play close to their best game in this one. Like we could have easily won this game by 15 points. Like this is an ugly game on Wisconsin's side. I feel like we're from a skill standpoint, Wisconsin's a much more skilled team.
I do disagree with you, Ryan. I think that we weren't really control the game because I feel like we were holding on a little bit, especially in the second half. In the first half, yes, total control. We were moving the ball at will. And obviously Maryland made the adjustment to shut down our passing lanes and to stop allowing us to just move the ball freely. And they did that very effectively because as we know, we don't really have a ton of athletes that can break defenses down, right? So they did that very effectively. And I think we were kind of holding on. I will say you beat Maryland, undefeated ranked team at home. You deserve credit. So this was a game that we absolutely, and look, we said on the show a couple times before, all these close games we're playing, this is making us better. And tonight we got even better because now we're playing close games against good teams. And I thought that we had some big performances tonight. First of all, I want to talk about Stephen Corral. I've had negative things to say about him in the past, and he's not a great, amazing player, but he deserves a lot of credit because he was playing stronger with more confidence, especially in the first half. And when he plays with confidence, he looks like a different player. He looks tougher in the post. He looks like he can make some moves. He's still making poor decisions sometimes, but I want him in there more than I did a few games ago because he is an effective rebounder. He's he's very effective when he plays strong. Chucky Hepburn continues to do well. He's still taking up a couple crazy shots. I don't love when he holds the ball late in the shot clock and he just takes some crazy shot. But tonight he had 13 points. He shot 4 of 8 from the field. Essegian, great job. Obviously a little slow starting, but I think overall the team deserves a lot of credit. Getting a big win. We fought through the fact that they really stepped up their game defensively, and that is in those situations the Badgers are going to fold throughout the season. We're going to have games where if someone turns it up on like that on us, we're going to have difficult time recovering. Great job getting through it though.
Well,
all right,
great point.
Here's kind of how I take it from looking at the Maryland side of this. You can always tell a team that doesn't quite fully understand what playing 40 minutes of defense is. Wisconsin's a team that for the most part can do that. Maryland is a team that will do it in bursts and they'll get lazy with it. And you noticed it a lot. Like they really would grind down on Essegian at times, and then suddenly they would just lose track of them for like long periods of time. And it's like, you guys don't get it. Like you can't like get lazy with this stuff if you want to stop a player like that. Like Wisconsin, when they're really in, unless there's a guard that's just too athletic for them, can for the most part do that to guys. Baylor is a great version of that. A couple of years ago when they won the title, when they wanted to put the screws to you, they could keep it going for the entire game. Maryland's always kind of been that team that just will do it in bursts, but doesn't seem to get it together all the time. And really the only time we've struggled with them was Melo Trimble. He's the only guy that we struggle with when it came to Maryland. I thought Gilmore played well tonight.
Yeah.
However, he simultaneously also drove me nuts with the missed free throws.
Yeah, Justin was not happy.
Him and Wall. I'm like, come on, guys. I'm like, you've shot tens of thousands of these in your life. Like,
so did Shaq.
Get me
like,
okay. Well, they start dropping 30 points in a game and getting 20 boards. I'll let them miss the free throws.
Listen, here's the thing with Gilmore, though. He tightens up when he has to shoot a little bit. I think we've seen that. Now, Gilmore gets a ton of credit. Yeah, he gets a ton of credit. You know what he did this offseason that I don't think we've talked about enough? He came back looking like a different athlete, and defensively he holds up now, which is awesome. And he attacks the glass. He gets a little tip outs. He does a lot of little things. Interesting to me in this game, one of the things I love seeing, Connor Essegian, he started off, as Rajiv mentioned it, poorly, but the thing that really good shooters can't do is stop shooting, right? Because as long as you're trying to shoot and you're a really good shooter, you draw the defense out, it creates a ton of space. And we saw him hit those 2 big threes in the second half, really kind of help push the team over the finish line. The fact that he kept shooting. Yeah, I mean, well, not all freshmen do that, though. Again, we're talking about how this dude's wired a little differently. We've talked it a lot of different ways. This is more evidence in that.
We watched Chucky do it all last year. Chucky all last year would pass up wide open threes.
Yeah.
And he takes them, and when he's missing them, and he's keeps shooting, he's going to start making them. He's going to start making them, and he's going to just completely turn around the game, which is exactly what we needed him to do. I also want to say I'll talk about Tyler Wall a minute. I thought he didn't have a very good game today. Threw only 3 of 10 from the field, 3 turnovers, and 5 fouls. We have obviously fouled out of the game. He played very, I thought, just kind of, very inconsistent, very undisciplined. And I really I want him to, I say this a lot on the show, I just want people to go up strong. It drives me crazy when on the post, people just don't go up strong. They're trying to do cutesies. Just go up strong. Pump it and go up strong. Because when you do that, you're either going to get fouled or you're going to get a bucket. Or, or maybe they do have a miraculous block. And that's okay. Because guess what? Maryland's a good team. They're long. They played some amazing defense. And they deserve credit for that. But there's just, he has to be a little better. And he's played great this season. I'm not taking anything away from his season. He's been our star. But in games like this, we're going to play a lot of games like this in a loaded Big Ten, that a lot of games are going to be this difficult, and he has to play better, and he's got to play with more discipline. So I was not very pleased with him tonight. Klesmit, I thought, once again, just is growing into this role of lockdown defender, and he's making big shots.
The interesting thing with Connor that I don't love,
Justin's going to go back to Connor.
No, this is I mean, it really has nothing to do with how great he's been. It's one of the things that I look at with him and with his cuts. There are times, most of the time, I'd rather he just go straight up with it, because he's got his man so beat. Whenever he does the pump fake, he normally gives him a chance to recover. And it's like a couple of times it's burned him. Like tonight, he got blocked bad on that one. It's like, man, you go up with that the second you catch it.
Yep.
That's a lay-in.
Which block was that exactly? Because I had to use an abacus to keep track of, right? Like 7, 8.
How many times we been blocked
Well,
this year?
Scott had like 4 or 5 of them himself.
Listen, that goes into my second point that I wanted to just really quickly bring up. And this is something all of us have talked about. I know Justin and I have talked about this a lot. I think, Rajiv, you and I have as well. This team does need to aggressively recruit an athletic wing or two because they're pressed. Maryland's press ate us up, quite frankly. And Maryland's size and length gave us a lot of problems. There is an athletic ceiling to this team.
Yeah, there is.
That
they have to shoot the lights out against a good team, or they're
the Badgers have recruited skill. Yeah, I mean, the Badgers have recruited skill and shooting, which you need, but they also the balance is almost outweighed, and now you need a couple athletes on this team.
Iowa,
I think we see that deficiency.
Iowa has done a pretty good job of finding those random athletes that they bring in and turning them into something. If Wisconsin could grab one of those guys, I'm not saying that they need to change the recruiting style to what Iowa does, but to grab one of those guys every cycle or two, just so you have an athlete that's out there that has some level of skill or some level of coordination that you feel like you can develop, even if they're just a glue guy, would be really great for this team. Somebody who can come in and sky for rebounds and blocks and whatever.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we're going to really quick, last thoughts on this game, either of you gentlemen, because we got a bunch of comments I want to get to as well, but I definitely want to kick it back over to you if you have any final big picture takeaways we didn't talk about with this big game.
I just feel like we are in a position where we're getting into the conference play. We're going to have a little bit out of conference for a little bit now after one more game in conference, but this team is going to be fun to watch all year. We're going to be in a lot of games. We're going to be in every game, and I think we know that now. And when we shoot the ball well and when we can take that extra level up, we're going to beat a lot of good teams. So I'm super happy with the team.
I feel like this is a good first step for this team in confidence building. I think this team is capable of becoming a plus passing team overall, and they can really grow into that as the season plays on. They're a good shooting team. I think that's going to continue because I think Chucky, Klesmet, and Essegian are all good shooters. Essegian, definitely. He's got some Steve Novak vibes to him, where you just watch it and every time it's like, this is going down.
Had to bring it right back to right back to CG.
I mean,
Justin coming in right back to it's like, Justin, any last thoughts on the game? Well, yeah, Connor Essegian was really I love it though. I love it.
Team, like the growth of this team that they're capable of with the shooting that they have, it's going to win them a couple of games that they shouldn't win.
Yeah, agreed. And much better than last year, by the way. All right, we got to take a quick break for our friends over at BetOnline. Then we're going to get into a bunch of comments. I'm going to play kind of quarterback here. I'm going to kick them off to Rajiv and Justin, and we're going to try to get through as many of them as we can because a bunch of you are watching, a bunch of you have commented, which I really do appreciate about. Ben Albin on the bottom. Chucky Hepburn is awesome. Yes, sir. That's his second really good game in a row. All right, so coming up, answering your questions, comments, thoughts, concerns. We're going to get into it, play a little round table. Appreciate everybody tuning in. But first, today's show is brought to you by our good friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline remains your number one source for all of your betting needs, sports betting needs, wagering needs, live in-game betting, futures betting. Now, you all know I'm in on the Niners. I've said this. They don't have a quarterback anymore, unless you want to count Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Purdy, sorry. I can't even get the name right. Mr. Irrelevant, last person drafted. They did come in, and they did beat the Dolphins. So I still have money on them. But at the end of the day, I can understand if you want to fade the Niners without a quarterback at this point. But BetOnline is your number one source for all your futures betting, live in-game betting. You can still jump on my Suns. You can still ride that bandwagon if you want to. They also have great sports news podcasts, plus live casino games, blackjack, roulette, coverage of all sports from golf to esports to racing, basketball, baseball, golf. It's all there on BetOnline. Grab your mobile device, head to the website today, BetOnline, where the game starts. Again, I want to say thank you so much for tuning into the show. Really do appreciate y'all. And now we're going to get into your comments again. I really like doing that. I think it's super important to just continue to build the community up, get your voices in here. Justin, Rajiv, I'm just going to kick some stuff back and forth with you guys and let you guys respond to the comments. And I'm going to play some quarterback here. All right, who wants to go first?
Justin.
Let it roll.
Let's do it. I could have handled that better. Yeah. All right, let's go. Justin, comment from Wendy Zetnig. Wisconsin Badgers will regret Jim leaving. He's a Badger through and through. And again, let's try to make the responses to these comments a little quicker because we got a bunch I want to get through.
Sure. I think you can look at it two ways. I think from a standard of a good, clean break, it probably benefits this coaching staff from a chemistry standpoint to just have a clean slate. We will find out. If Jimmy gets a job head coach somewhere and lights it up, they could very well have that happen. I do think he has some growing to do yet, though, in the head coaching front.
Wendy, thank you for the comment. Jay Daly, deep breath, everyone. Total surprise news came out. He was staying. It was always most likely he would leave, Rasheev. I'm going to roll with Fickell and see where the chips fall in 5 years.
Yeah, we said something like this similar. It was always most likely. Nothing has really affected us, our course. We're on course. I feel like this is not really that big of a shock to anyone. Sad, yes. Shock, really, no. I think everything with Fickell's on schedule. Keep going. Let's get this program rocking and rolling.
Yep. And a couple follow-up comments at that. Brian Shetty says, love Jim for everything. Maybe one day he'll be back coaching with us. Once a Badger, always a Badger. Dylan Ward, best defensive coordinator in all of college football. David Wagner, kind of parroting what Justin was saying. A good, clean break is best for both parties involved. And then David Wagner also saying...
Can I weigh in on that a little bit?
Oh, please. I'll come back to it. Yeah.
A good, clean break. From Jimmy's standard here, looking at him, I honestly think this is in the best interest of him in terms of like where his mind is at for him to get out of this. Like when you're somebody, and I've never been this way in my career because I'm always been a guy who's more interested in my home life. But for somebody who's highly successful like him and has a career where he is the top of his industry and is that, I feel like he was probably in a little bit of shock with everything that happened. And for a bit there, it's possible that he was going to kind of go along with things, but it wouldn't have shocked me for him to sit there and look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm really good at this and I have a ton of value. And why am I putting myself into this situation and just going along with things when that's not actually what I want? Because I don't think that that's what he wanted. Like it would have been good for him, for the school and for the fan base. I'm not sure it's what's in the best interest of Jim Leonhard. Like if his long-term goal is to be an amazing head coach, I think that there are opportunities that are out there for him that would have been a better situation than him coming back to Wisconsin.
That's interesting. Because I felt like playing, and you could be right. You could be 100% right. But I felt like next year's schedule is pretty weak. Coming under to Luke Fickell, learning from him, I think that was setting himself up from a year from now to take his kind of pick of spots when he's had a year to refresh. But you're totally right. If his heart's not in it, that doesn't make sense for anybody. Then that would just lead to issues. And this was also reported. I don't know if you all saw this. I don't know if this is true. I haven't looked into it. Underwater Man 7 said Wisconsin Sports Journal said Tressell and Jail would share defensive coordinator duties. Yeah, that seems like an obvious no-go.
Yeah, if that's true, then obviously there's no surprise here whatsoever. I mean, I would have been out the door right away if I was Jim Leonhard too. He doesn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Trevor Doyle, thank you. The name is Brock Purdy. I was mixing all sorts of Chubbas and
he's
Purdy.
Your quarterback.
He's not. He's
right. He's your team. It's your team, my man.
Trey Lance is my quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo's my quarterback. Brock Purdy, Iowa State, right? Iowa State Cyclone kick. That is not my quarterback. All right.
I saw him throwing passes on Sunday.
I would like to say to everyone, the listeners out there, that I mistakenly broke this news to Ryan while he was taping the 49ers game. And I was like, oh, he's done. Garoppolo's done. And Ryan's like, I haven't even watched the game yet.
Yeah, so really, man. I record a lot of games because I'm either doing stuff, whatever. So I wasn't even watching the game. The group chat spurs to life, right? Like a little electronic mole in my ear. And Rashid's like, oh, Jimmy Garoppolo's dead. I don't know if that's actually what he said, but that's basically what he said. I'm like, bro, I haven't even watched the game yet. So that happened.
Oh, if you'd have looked at Twitter, you would have found out.
But I don't. I go radio silent.
Oh, really?
Now I'll go really radio silent. All right, let's keep here. We got a bunch more stuff we want to get to. I want to definitely get to some of the basketball comments as well. Let's see here. One of these comments here. Yep, Dominic Shiro. They didn't handle the press well.
It's going to be an ongoing problem for them. It is something that we really need to work on, and I'm sure they're working on it. But we brought up athletic wing before. This is one of those times. It's going to be a struggle, but we'll find a way through it.
They're not a train wreck, but they can definitely be better than what they were today. Mm-hmm. We've seen teams that just give up 10 points in like a burst because they can't handle it, and Wisconsin at least didn't do that.
Yeah, part of the problem though is they take so long to kind of they can't aggressively break the press, right? No. A lot of teams can break the press and get points or early offense. Mm. The Badgers break the press at the cost of 20 seconds on their shot clock.
Yeah,
that's a problem. Badger Ron, I'll kick this over to Rajiv. Too much dribbling into double teams on offense. Can guard bring back the swing? I want to just extend that a little bit too. Do you like what they're doing offensively?
Not really. I'm okay with it. I feel like at times of the game it works really well. The problem is when defenses make adjustments, we then look like we're lost offensively. And I feel like that literally happens in every game. And that's why I feel like we start well, we hold on. No. I mean, overall, no, because again, I mean, how many times have I said late shot clock offense is just atrocious? We have so many possessions, and you don't see this with a lot of basketball teams. So many possessions where we are struggling mightily to get a shot off. That's not acceptable at this level. I feel like there needs to be better movement, and no, there has to be better design, more motion, and yeah, create more offense, not just first option stuff. It's just not it's not working right now.
Well, other than Connor and Davis, they don't really have great cutters. Like nobody really gets themselves into easy opportunities at all.
I'd like to see them try.
That's a big part of it. Yeah, I would love to see them try. And I think that is something, a skill you can develop. I don't think that that's something you either have or don't have. So some of these guys just have to be tighter with that stuff because it gives you easy looks.
It was Bo Dragon says the Badgers outlawed the alley-oop 20 years ago.
God, who was the guy?
They had one earlier in the year.
I can't remember the guy that
I had to go back to like the first game of the season.
Was it Morley who had the long hair that they always used to run? Was it Morley? Yeah, it was Morley. They always used to run alley-oop plays for him, set plays. And I'm like, where'd that go?
Yeah, where'd dunking go?
The guy who looked like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, same build. Yeah.
There's another comment in here from Bo Dragon saying, Is it illegal for the Badgers to dunk the ball or to recruit somebody who can dunk? Bo Dragon bringing his typical level of I would say angriness to the.
Thanks for listening,
Bo. Yep.
You really don't like Badger basketball.
Oh, he loves it. He loves it. He's a great listener. He brings his snarkiness. Snarkiness is a better word for it. Brady Steiner.
God. Well, why'd you put this comment? This is just gonna
achieve.
Justin's ego is just growing on the screen right now.
Brett, if y'all remember, we did an over-under before the season. Connor Essegian minutes. What was our actual number? Do you guys, was it
12 and a half? 12 and a half.
Okay. Justin went over.
He's almost doubling that. Just saying.
Justin went over. Brady Steinberg has a great comment, right? Funny how your preseason over-under on minutes per game is actually a great over-under for his points per game. That's very well said.
By end of the season, it could be. Like, I think he will grow as the season goes on, and really depending upon how the rest of the guys shoot, he may end up being a guy who ends up with a bigger portion of the scoring. Because I think he's a pure enough shooter that they can consistently rely on him game in and game out. Some of the other guys, that's not the case.
He deserves a lot of credit for what we've done thus far this year because he's making big shots. He's taking chances. Yeah. He's not afraid. I mean, his release, it's such a quick release on some of those corner jumpers and anything. It's nice to see. So, yeah, I was definitely wrong about this. 100%. Did not see a freshman coming in with when you think about freshmen playing, you think super athletic freshmen that are going to get out there and play like a Devin Harris kind of guy. Mm-hmm. But I did not see this coming, and boy, am I happy about it.
There's only a couple of guys like this a year that come into college basketball. There's not normally a bunch of guys who are just really skilled cutters and shooters. Well, I mean, we look at it. The guy from Kansas is probably the only other one that we really look at and say, this is a guy that's got that kind of game.
And we're going to wrap up here pretty quick because we're at 33 minutes. I try to keep shows mostly to 30, 35 minutes. A bunch of comments I didn't get to, but just looking through the comments, we do have a recruiting show coming up tomorrow. I saw a lot of comments and questions about recruiting. We got John Garcia coming on the show to talk recruiting. And I think next time when I get the three of us together, we're just going to do a live comment show. If y'all like that after a game or after a big news, because I feel bad I'm not getting to all these comments. So I think we're going to do just a live comment show just to get to everybody. We'll kick it around. We'll have a great discussion. Gentlemen, I do want to kick it back around to you, though, because y'all bringing your time here and your insight, which is always incredibly valuable. Any other big picture thing from today, the Jim Leonhard news, Luke Fickell, filling out the staff, recruiting news, this Badger basketball game, anything else that you want to really kind of finish and wrap up with?
Well, the Badgers have probably their biggest recruiting day of the year coming up this weekend. A ton of kids are going to be coming in, and I think that might even actually get added to yet. I believe there's double digits right now expected to come in. We may see that get up. I wouldn't be shocked if there's like 15 kids that end up visiting on this weekend. So that's amazing. We have some new names that got added very quickly by the staff. which is never a bad thing and is always a good sign. So hopefully we can lock down some of these kids and get them signing.
I would say a couple of quick things. One, if any Badger fans worried about this with the Jim Leonhard situation, let's not be worried about it. Like we are still status quo. Luke Fickell is going to be fantastic here. We are going to lose people in the portal. We're going to lose more now, but that's okay because we're going to get people back in. And I think it's going to be fine. Yeah. As far as basketball, I did want to kind of give a shout out to Jordan Davis, which we have not really talked about today. I feel like Jordan Davis is continuing to develop his game. He's getting more confident. I said it a couple of weeks ago. If he plays more confident, he can really, really be a player on this team. And I like to see that. He's shooting better because he's shooting more confidently. He's driving. He's had a big steal today. He's making good defensive plays. So I like where this program is headed right now. I think this is going to be another good year for basketball. Obviously, 8th and 9th in the Big Ten. Just keep predicting us there, guys. Real smart to keep putting the Badgers at the bottom.
We're tied for the lead.
It's hilarious that this keeps happening. Oh yeah, the Badgers are going to suck. Okay, fine. We're gonna challenge for the Big Ten again. We're going to be up there in the top 5. Good start to the year. Super pumped for the football season. Here we go. I'm already ready for football.
And they're going to put us 8th or 9th next year too, right?
Of course. It's fine.
We're going to be in the dregs of the Big Ten again. Justin, Rajiv, as always, y'all are awesome.
I want to say one last thing with the
Leonhard.
Connor? No, with the Leonhard thing. I want people that are upset and thinking about this tonight to think of it this way. When Fickell was announced as the hire, nobody thought that Leonhard was going to be here anyway. So we're basically back at square one. So he would have been a nice boon, but is not what we expected to be going on with the hiring of Fickell. So we're pretty much back where we thought we'd be.
And and we kind of talked about it in the first segment too.
It was before you were taking a shower. We talked about
while you were ghosting us, we kind of hit on that.
I think we said that exact thing.
Like a jealous girlfriend.
It's true.
Jeez.
No, it's 100% true. We're right back to where we thought we would be with Luke Fickell, which is still in a great spot, as Rajiv said. So yeah, it's good times, Badger fans. We have a legit head coach, and we just knocked off Maryland. So it's all good times. On Wisconsin, we're going to keep talking to you a bunch. There's about to be a bunch of staff news that gets unleashed too.
Oh yeah.
So
next couple of days are going to be big.
Expect some live reaction shows with that. On Wisconsin, appreciate y'all so much. And we are definitely going to do a show where we get to more of your comments. That one's on me. I apologize.